You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we're back on the podcast. We're talking with Ashley Hoover Baker, calling in from Las Vegas. What's going on?
Viva Las Vegas. We are just living our best isolated life right now.
I get it. Oh, my God. I think of our friends over in the UK who are on this full-on lockdown. I mean, just psychologically, I can't relate, and I think I'm going to have to.
Yeah. I just did a Patreon episode with some friends from the Drunk on Gossip podcast, and they're up in Canada, and they're on lockdown again. They've been locked down for like 2 weeks there now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, everyone's biggest fear this fall being, coming on and being cold, everyone's staying inside. Like, that was the big fear, and it took off real fast. And I wish there was, again, and this is controversial to some, but I don't think it is, I wish there was just some leadership in this country, just a little bit.
Amen.
Because, here we are, all we're doing is looking at graphs and charts. Well, what are we going to do about it? And, we're wearing the masks, so now what? But anyway, I can't get into all of it. I've really had it up to here with the whole thing, so I'm just trying to get through the day like everybody else. But someone is thriving in the middle of all of this.
Oh, yes.
Dolly Parton. Now, Megan Stecker, good friend of the show, my AfterBuzz companion, love her to death. She put out an Instagram story about how Dolly Parton has no time to get old. I looked into it. We're going to talk about it. I love it. I love that she's just too busy to age.
And you know what? If she doesn't want to age, she shouldn't have to. This is Dolly Parton's world. We're all living in it. We're lucky. Seriously, we're so lucky to be alive at the same time as Dolly Parton. I mean, this woman has just given us so much over the years. I'm a ride or die from, I grew up watching 9 to 5. I loved that movie so much as a child. And, I grew up in New Orleans, a little city right outside of New Orleans. So Disney World was kind of our amusement park thing that we would go to. My parents took us to Dollywood once when we were 8 or 9, and we were yeah, we're good on Disney World. We'll just keep on going to Dollywood. And they loved it because it was so much less expensive. And it is the best place on earth. Screw Disney World, Dollywood is the happiest place on earth.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I have never been down there, but I mean, I'm all for her. She's giving people jobs, nice local business, all for it. Women owns business, great.
Yeah, she stood up for Black Lives Matter. She said that, she couldn't be here. Her little white ass couldn't be here, without the love and support of all of the community. She's everything.
You know what? She's one of those few people I feel that are left that get it, especially, God, in her generation. I mean, this is from the article, and I hate to talk about women's ages, but she's a 74-year-old woman. I mean, and she gets it, and God bless her for it. So,
and the funny thing is, I am so annoyed with everybody in their plastic surgery. I'm so sick of looking at every 25-year-old influencer model, whatever, with the same features. But meanwhile, Dolly Parton can do whatever the F she wants to her face, and I will never say anything.
On that same note, side note, rewinding the tapes, Salt Lake City, do you feel like those women all had the same face? I feel like they all go to the same doctor.
I think they do. I think they all go to Heather's
her
med
clinic
spa,
or whatever,
and apparently
the 15-minute Botox parking.
That was so brilliant. I mean, there were just so many nuggets on Salt Lake City. I mean, it really is a treasure.
But I feel and go back and watch when it comes back on episode 2, everybody in that show has the same mouth. They all have the same mouth. I can't figure it out. It's hard to tell, especially if they have dark hair, because then they really look the same. But
oh my gosh,
they all go to the same mouth doctor.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Well, and I feel, on that show particular, but just even all these young girls, everybody's got the puffy duck lips, the super big pouts.
His daughters now. It's too much.
It's insane. Yeah. It's really, really crazy to think of what the standard of beauty has evolved to.
Yeah. You know what's interesting with this Dolly story is she spoke with Oprah, who has the show on Apple TV. She's got the network, the magazine, the website, but has her own Apple TV show as well, and the podcast. Let's not forget, who doesn't have that?
Of course.
That just goes without saying. But the Oprah Conversation on Apple TV Plus, this is what Dolly told her. She said, I don't think about my life in terms of numbers. First of all, I ain't never going to be old because I ain't got no time to be old. I can't stop long enough to grow old, she told Oprah. And I just love that quote because it really is, she goes on to say this, but it really is about a spirit that you have. You know, it really is, it comes from the inside. She says, like, I agree. It really is like, what's your attitude like? How do you want to apply that? You know, I mean, you can be an old soul and live a slower life, or you can just like go out there and just grab life by the balls, you know?
Oh, and she sure does. She's did you ever end up watching her Netflix show called Heartstrings?
I didn't. No.
It's amazing. So I think maybe it's like 6 or 8 episodes, and you don't have to watch them in any order. They're all like, it's like an anthology almost. Each story is its own, and each one of the episodes is based on a song. And it starts off with like maybe like a little 2-minute package of Dolly kind of just talking about the songwriting process, and then it goes into a created story, a scripted tale, explaining about like where that story came from. I have chills just talking about it. It's beautiful. It's like an amazing
high
show.
Level. Yeah, that's excellent. Like, I remember her promoting it. And just, you know, it just slipped off. There's so much programming out there. So maybe I should look at that because I like that because it's actually meaningful. It's like it tells a story, but it's like behind the music, you know? So
everyone, like I cried every episode. Wow. Like everyone just they call it Heartstrings for a reason. They're just such beautiful stories.
Well, I like her, and I'm not a big country music fan, but I just like the institution that is Dolly Parton, the work she's done for people. Again, Dollywood, I mean, just excellent stuff. I'm so impressed by her. And the fact that she even last year did a song with Miley Cyrus, like she's relevant, she's out there, she's doing the damn thing. She did the music video. She looked fabulous. Like, you know, I'm all in. And she really credits the fact that, like, you know, she'll look as young as the plastic surgeons can make her. And she's all about lighting, makeup and lighting.
Love it.
And it's true. I know a lot of mature actresses specifically are very specific about lighting, and they'll show up on time. But if the lighting is not good, they will walk out. I know this
absolutely.
For a fact. So she's definitely probably one of those where it's like, you know, the lighting has to be right. She probably even has a guy for it that she just knows will light her correctly. So
right, just following behind her with some sort of ring light.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure they've got it all figured out. Even angles are important. I'm sure she's aware.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I just like her because, like, yeah, like you were saying, it is a little gross to keep celebrating, like, these women who get all this work done. But to me, with her, it's just like a mindset. And you know what? She's open about it. She owns it. She's into it. I'm okay with it.
I am too. And I don't know if you know this, but Miley Cyrus is Dolly Parton's goddaughter.
Yeah, I had heard about that.
Isn't that so funny? I love it so much.
I love when they did a song together. Like, that's something to always, like, you know, prize and hold on to in high regards. It's just like, what a legend. But she even
love
this.
It.
I don't know how people feel about this, but on her 75th birthday, she's in talks to post for Playboy, and only, she says, if it's in good taste. So I hope that they treat her right over there. And, you know, what a statement they could make, you know, and if she wants to do it, go for it.
And if I'm going to see anybody 75 years old in Playboy, I would have to say it would be Dolly Parton.
Yeah, and I think it would be like extremely tasteful. I don't think we're going to see anything really revealed. I think she'll be naked behind a palm plant, or there'll be some like frosted glass that she's leaning up against, like
holding a guitar or something.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be very tasteful, I would hope. I mean, just to show her some respect, but also like I think it's like pretty progressive. I mean, you know, what else is Playboy up to these days anyway? I mean, just do it to get the press.
Her body, her business. If she wants to show it at 75, I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about TV. I'm struggling, and I talked about this in my one-on-one episode last week with the listeners here. I just was like, what the hell can I watch? What's next? This article came out with Sarah Paulson for Impeachment, American Crime Story. Now, these are always very well done shows on FX. Like, I love The People versus OJ. There was another one in there. It's the same guys.
The Versace one.
The Versace, excellent. And just high quality, high production value. I even loved Feud, which I know is a separate franchise, but Ryan Murphy, who is so hit or miss, but I feel like he shows up for these. And Sarah Paulson released a look of how she's going to appear on the show, portraying Linda Tripp. And she has disappeared into roles before, but she disappears into this one as well.
It's so funny because I saw the picture of her dressed as Linda Tripp and I was like, what the hell is happening to Sarah Paulson? What's going on with my girl? And then I realized and I was like, oh my gosh, I am so here for this. And it's funny because I just rewatched The People versus OJ. I think I finished it maybe last week for the third time. I grew up in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s, like where my mom could tell you exactly where she was when JFK was shot. That's how I can tell you, I know exactly where I was when that white Bronco was being chased down. It was so important to me. And same thing with the Bill Clinton case. This whole thing was such a huge part of my life growing up. I didn't know what oral sex was until this case. And this was pre-internet. The internet was a thing. It was barely in people's houses at this point. I was figuring all this out. So I am absolutely here for this story.
Well, that's why a lot of people don't like Clinton, because they feel like they taught everyone's kids what oral sex was. But it's inevitable they're going to learn it anyway. But
well, the funny thing is that I grew up in the time of the Republican Party being known as the Family Values Party. So to go from people being so upset because Bill Clinton lied about a blowjob, and in the presidential cycle that we're in currently, having a former sex worker in the White House, which I have no problem if she was a sex worker. That's absolutely her choice, and I'm not demeaning it at all. But the hypocrisy of the family values party, and that's something that they do not embrace, is sex work. The whole thing is the hypocrisy, and then just the fact that Bill Clinton lied about a blowjob and then Trump lied about everything else.
Yeah, paying out a porn star, that was another part of it. But also, I gotta mention, remember Michelle Bachmann, former presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann. I put this on my Instagram story. Those of you who saw it, you know what I'm about to say. But she was online praying. And praying against the Democrats, praying harm on all the Democrats. And I just put family values. That's the family value party right there. There she is.
Oh, my gosh.
So I love Michelle Bachmann for all the wrong reasons. I remember the husband, the questionable husband. So,
my gosh. I mean, these were soap operas. This OJ, these were real life soap operas.
Yeah. So, and it's going to play out that way on this show on FX, I'm sure. Because it's going to be tight because they have to stick to the reality of what happened. Right. So I don't think they can, I hope this holds Ryan Murphy's interest and we can, get through it. But there's great guidepost, right, of exactly what happened in the timeline and the players. So I think that it'll be done well.
I don't doubt that for a second. Ryan Murphy is as good as you get for this genre. Sarah Paulson literally becomes the character. And I saw a lot of the supporting cast members. It's going to be amazing. And I'm just excited because Monica Lewinsky was really close. She and Linda Tripp were such good friends. And Monica Lewinsky has become such an important personality, an important public figure, I would say. Online bullying started with her, to where she ended up living in England for several years just because she couldn't go anywhere without, making blowjob jokes, stained dress jokes, cigar jokes.
Wow. Yeah. She was one of the original political props of the millennium, I guess, or around that period. Now it's anything you can find. But that's why this is going to make such a great show, just considering how this is going to be laid out and then where we are today, which couldn't be worse. The only thing, there's a big black mark on this for me though, and this is an unpopular opinion. I don't know if I can do it because Billy Eichner is going to play Matt Drudge. I can't stand Billy Eichner. I don't think I can watch. At least maybe someone can tell me which episodes he's not on. Now, I know they're ensemble shows, so he's probably in all of them.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Like, I don't like him when he plays himself, but he's been in some American Horror Stories, and I've enjoyed him on that. So I'm hoping to be able to continue to suspend my disdain for him on a person. I just find him very annoying.
Oh, I do too. And if they can keep him off of a microphone screaming, then maybe I can like stomach it. But I can't deal with the screaming.
That's why I can't handle. Yeah, I can't handle that chef guy, the guy with the obnoxious hair and all the what's his name? He's one of the celebrity chefs. He yells into the diners, drives-ins, and dives. Guy Fieri. Like, you're Mike, dude. Why are you yelling at the camera?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, well, every time I see him, I just think of, like, restaurants, like, on the way to Vegas, like, in Baker, California. Like, I just imagine him, like, hanging out at these restaurants, like, and somewhere in the desert.
That's his brand.
Can't stand that guy. I don't know when the show will be airing. There's no current date for Impeachment, but it will air on FX, so keep an eye open for that. And then, I mentioned The Bachelor last episode. I was thinking of maybe watching it. Well, I tried. I saw Dale and what's her face? Claire. They had the whole talk with Chris Harrison, and then all the other guys in the room with tank tops on were like, what's going on? What's going on? And then I missed when the new girl came on, because the fact of the matter is it held my interest. And then I looked at how much time was left, because I'm like, how much longer is this? It was like an hour and 9 minutes. I said, nope, I can't do it. If I'm done by now and there's still over an hour left, I can't pull it off. I'm sorry, I tried.
I am just going back into the world of The Bachelor, just because, like we were talking about earlier, Bravo's just not sitting well with me. And I started watching with Tayshia, just this most recent episode, her first episode. And she is lovely. I would love to watch her. I'm going to continue watching the show, but it's 2 hours and it's too long, and not enough happens for it to be 2 hours long. And that's just, there's so many good things on. I really have a hard time watching things that it should just be so much shorter. It needs to be an hour, and that's it.
I agree. That's the biggest reason why I'm not watching. That's really the only reason, is it's just too much of a commitment for me. And I don't really want to dedicate that much time to any show, to be honest with you. So I don't really watch anything like that. So, like, I'm good.
I feel the same way, and I broke my own rule this summer. There was a show on. It's on CBS. It's called Love Island.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really big in the UK, Australia. This was the second American version, and because of quarantine, they filmed here in Vegas and at one of the local, like, trendy pools at Dre's.
Yeah.
And so I've been there a million times. Like, I'm like, oh, it's in my neon hometown. I have to watch. It was 5 episodes a week. 5-hour-long episodes a week. And I was like, I'm going to watch a couple episodes, see if I like it. I couldn't get enough. Like, they could have been on 7 days a week and I would have watched it. I loved it.
Wow. I tried. And I sat through about 1.5 episodes. And then they were still like introducing new people. And I was like, I give up. So it just didn't work for me. But what would have worked for me? Love Island UK, because that's just trashy enough to, like, you can't look away. Like this one, I think they played it too earnestly in the US version. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. I didn't feel like they had enough diversity, and I was just disappointed by it. So I was like, I wasn't too into it.
Well, in the last week, CBS has come out saying that their diversity standards are evolving, and moving forward in Big Brother, Survivor, and Love Island, it'll be 50% Black, Indigenous, and people of color featured on their shows. So it took a long time to get to the party, but they're here, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I did not see it. That's something I should have talked about on the show. I didn't see that report. I'm glad you mentioned it. I mean, not a moment too soon. And I mean, why don't we have these shows look like the world's around us? So that's an idea. Wasn't that a thought?
Right.
Yeah. On that note, let's wrap here. Keep watching Salt Lake City just so we can talk about it here on the podcast, if anything else. And I love to have met Ashley here on the pod as well. Thank you for coming on.
Oh my gosh, I am so glad you had me, and I can't wait to have you on. Maybe we'll do we'll catch up on Housewives of Salt Lake City in a couple weeks and see where we're meeting up still.
Yeah, true. Tell people really briefly what they can expect on your show, because I like your format. You have an interesting format.
Oh, thank you. Like you, my format's kind of evolved over time, seeing what works, what makes me happy. I do news and nostalgia. So for the first half of the episode, it's celebrity, pop culture, reality TV news, from this week on this day. And then the second half goes into on this day in entertainment history. So we'll talk from, movies that were popular this week in entertainment history to songs, celebrity news, marriages, divorces, arrests. I love a good celebrity true crime story. So, it's current. And when you need to take that break and go back to when things were simpler, I deliver that too.
Yeah. I like the throwback stuff, like, with
cool.
birthdays. And you had Britney playing on one of those episodes celebrating Baby One More Time. I like that.
Oh, gosh. And I know you love my girl Britney so much, too. And that's one of the reasons, one of the things we talk about. And just free Britney, Team Britney. So much support and love for her.
Amen. What a beautiful way to end this episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure was mine, Grant.
This has been Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by Howie Ronay. Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.